Hey guys, welcome to the FairDinkum podcast. We've got a jam-packed episode for you guys today. We asked our Instagram audience for some lockdown topics. You guys gave us some amazing ideas. We spoke about traveling, personal experiences, building routines during lockdown, and life and lessons we learned from schooling. Enjoy.
Well, what had happened was my flights got stuffed up and I had to leave Somalia early. Like, I was super lucky, to the point where, like, alhamdulillah, one of the boys rang me up from London, asked me, hey, what's wrong with your, what time are you meant to plan to leave, as in Somalia? I said, I'm leaving in like 3 days or something. They're like, bro, because you know with your visa, there's like a 30-day expiration or something like that. Bro, if you don't leave by tonight, technically you're not going to be allowed into the country.
FairDinkum.
Hey boys, what's been happening? What's new? We're still in low-key lockdown. A lot's been happening
I wanted to tell you about, because now there's a lot of soccer news, quick thing. I saw this thing.
This morning, yeah?
Yeah, because now obviously Ronaldo's going United, but I saw this thing. I said, UEFA have just confirmed the Portuguese league has now taken over League One as the 5th best league in the world, meaning Messi doesn't play in the top 5 league anymore.
Okay, explain that in basketball terms.
That's a bit.
Basketball terms.
That ruined the moment.
But bro,
have you seen those TikTok comments?
What is it?
Every time, like, for example, not TikTok, sorry, Instagram comments. House of Highlights, yeah, which is predominantly like a basketball, like, reporting account or whatever, or like Bleachers Report and stuff. Anytime they report any news that's on anything other than basketball, they always say, explain in basketball terms. And someone will come up with like an analogy, like, for example, like Messi going over to PSG and joining Mbappe.
Do they post it on it?
Huh?
They do. I've seen like they post like dumb TikTok challenges sometimes.
Yeah.
People roast them. Yeah.
The comment section is crazy. Nah, but spin it off.
Yeah,
Go.
what was the basketball version for Messi? I'm interested.
Messi, it was the equivalent. Me and my mum actually speaking of it. Because what? Who's at PSG now? Messi
Neymar.
and Mbappe, yeah? So, what was the equivalent? LeBron? Yeah. Curry?
Okay.
Yeah. And then the third one was like a mixture between, I heard, okay. It was Lakers with LeBron and AD and Curry coming over to join them. That's what it was. Would you agree?
It's hard to do because there's so many good players in the NBA that are at similar levels.
Yeah.
But any of those work, yeah. Because they are like, that front three is like maybe like top 5, 6, 7 in the world, like attackers anyway. So any of the top 7 NBA players will be the same.
Give me a quick comparison. Who's going to be Mbappe?
Well, the only thing is you want it to be young as well.
Yeah.
Anthony Davis did come in the league like 7, 8 years ago, so he's a young alternative.
Okay.
You know?
I know.
Messi has to be LeBron, yeah?
I was thinking Mbappe someone else, but not any of those.
Who's yours?
Like in the NBA in general?
Yeah.
I was gonna say Luka Doncic.
Okay. Yeah.
He's young and upcoming.
I can say future GOAT, probably, who knows, of the league. Not of all time. You gotta be careful with that.
That's a good one, yeah.
Messi.
LeBron has to be LeBron.
Yeah, I would say LeBron. Yeah.
Yeah.
Neymar's a tough one though, because it's all. He could be a Curry.
Yeah. I see Curry just because he's just.
Like
just
he's a show,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
He's a showman, yeah.
No, that's interesting though. How like they're asking for like basketball versions in every single thing. So have they said a Ronaldo one since it happened this
No, I haven't seen the Ronaldo one. Ronaldo news just got broken like half last night. Yeah, what's your reaction to that? Hit me.
Honestly, bro, I was thinking, he's going to City. They need a striker. Like with Pep, it's possible, they got the money. But I was thinking like it would just be totally disrespectful if it actually did happen to his legacy. So now to see that it's actually possible for him to go to United, I heard that there was like Rio Ferdinand and his old coach Alex Ferguson made a big impact in that move. So I think that's what made the difference. What's so funny, bro?
What's funny?
This guy wants to have his import on Ronaldo.
Yo, chill. There's
it's no import.
Chill,
Allow this guy. Get too comfortable.
There's only 3 months today.
No, we didn't.
I haven't seen much. I just seen the Instagram and I got gassed and that's it.
Jamie, relax.
Young Jamie. We'll do a quick spin off here. Guys, get us to 2,000 both YouTube and Instagram. And then young Jamie can probably feature on an episode.
I'm not featuring episode. Like maybe like we'll show his face on an app.
I'm teasing. If we get to 2,000, we'll give him 5,000.
Yeah.
Nah, but keep going.
But like you're saying Ronaldo, you used to watch there in United days and that. So like a lot of people are starting to now going to watch the Premier League once again because he's back. He's a big name. He's a big icon. So yeah, it was a bit of a shock, man. Had you saw it as well? Because I knew it was big news once you posted it online as well as a basketball.
Nah, but I heard about it through the room because we were speaking yesterday on the phone, and I heard rumors about, and I don't know why, but like I was bored and I was just going through the news.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I heard like Ronaldo possibly going to City. Yeah, and that's when I spoke about it, boys. Like maybe we mentioned that in an episode or whatever. So I'm like, him going to the City, that's crazy, like this, that. And this morning I wake up and it's just the complete opposite. Like same city, but like just different team.
Yeah.
And I thought like that was big news. And on top of that, I don't know, it just gave me some LeBron James vibes. Well, like you know, the
like
return to Cleveland.
Decision, yeah.
You know,
okay,
yeah.
It is similar. That's a basketball version.
You know, because obviously LeBron did that. He came into the league at a young age. At that point, playing for Cleveland and stuff. And now later on in his career, when he was like, 16 years into his career, then he went back to Cleveland just to win a ring.
But it's a bit different because like
14 or something.
Ronaldo's a bit older.
36 years old.
Yeah, like Ronaldo is obviously still a gun, but he's not like prime like LeBron was. LeBron still had a lot in the tank, you know, since then.
Not really, no. Not when he went to Cleveland.
Oh, he went finals like 4 years in a row. So I think that's a bit like that's a lot in the tank to make.
But you know what they say every year about LeBron though. Every year they say, "Oh, like when's this guy gonna?"
Yeah,
like,
but in his 11th year in the league, it went back. Ronaldo's was playing for United 12 years ago, whatever.
Yeah,
so it's like it's been that long since. So 11th year and 12 years since he left. So it's a bit different.
And players in what do you call it, football, are starting to hop around as well. Like
soccer.
Yeah, like in soccer, like they're starting to hop around. That wasn't, first of all, it's a normal thing because, like, you know how we speak about like Russell Westbrook being traded 4 times in the last like 5 seasons or something along those lines, 3 times in the last 4 seasons. Yeah, it's a normal thing for players or like fans to follow players, you know. Whereas in soccer and football, people follow actual teams compared to like the basketball. And now that you've got like Ronaldo hopping from this, that, how many of these like fans are gonna like follow him from Juventus to this to that, you know? But yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, I don't think soccer will ever get to the basketball level of trades and that, how frequent.
Basketball's a players' league.
Yeah.
It's different,
And it's very, very business oriented. Well, any league is business orientated, but you know,
I think it's interesting, but because now you kind of see like names more frequently. Like so watching Ronaldo play week in, week out, because you don't watch League One, you don't watch the French league, the Spanish league as frequently. The EPL, everyone watches. So it's
look how many more viewers are now going to watch the Premier League. Guaranteed, bro.
That would be the biggest league in.
It is.
It was already.
It has been for the past few years, but I think Ronaldo coming back, kind of just keep that number 1 spot for now.
And the league is dead now.
Yeah, the league is gone. Like Messi's left it as well.
Yeah,
and just like
viewership is down. And what's the whole thing with the what was it? The Super League? Is that idea still a possibility?
I think that's long gone right now.
That's long gone.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's nothing anyone's looking at the moment, but who knows, bro? It might pop up randomly again in the media.
That's true. That's true.
Sport's not the same in Oz right now because you can't go over to your mate's house in
Oz,
like Australia.
Yeah. Why did you shorten that?
Because like normally you'd be playing for a soccer team and you go and you chat to your mates about what's happening.
Yeah.
Now the season just started, but there's not really a hype because all it is online. So you know what I'm talking about? Like you don't talk to your mates and bag your mate, have a chat, play FIFA together, whatever. There's none of that going on now because lockdown. So it's a bit limited with like the hype, the feeling of the season's back and Ronaldo. It's like the only way you know about like people's opinions is online. You're not having chats with your mates. So even sports now in Australia, not us, it's like gonna be like that for at least another month or so.
That was a big question when the pandemic hit. Like, what's the future of sports? Like, how are people going to go watch it? This, that. How you going? Because a lot of the essence of sport is going to the actual arenas, and like just being around fans and the passion and all that kind of stuff.
Because like, look at the AFL for example. Like this year again,
dead.
It's not going to be at the MCG, and
it isn't. Yeah,
I think there's a high chance it's going to be in
Gabba?
Perth.
Oh, Perth.
Because Perth don't get right now they're not in lockdown, and there's more of a chance of Brisbane going in lockdown at this time of the year.
And plus that place is a desert as well. You know, you can hold anything over there and not worry about COVID.
Yeah, bro. But the thing is as well, like they actually have a big stadium, so it's like they can get a big crowd. It's actually very possible. It just seems very strange 2 years in a row that no MCG grand final.
Yeah, you know, even though like stadiums and stuff are a bit dead, you know, one thing that's increased during the pandemic.
What is it?
What do you call gambling?
Online gambling, like online betting?
Yeah.
Online betting. Just because people watching it. Dana White mentioned something about that. It goes... say again?
It's probably disposable income.
Disposable income is one thing, and also it gives them something to root for. You know, like everyone's bored at home, they can't watch. So a lot of the revenue that comes into like certain sportings, like the UFC, I don't know, the NBA, a lot of their revenue comes from... Because obviously they're not going to get their revenue from fans coming and watching at the arenas. You know, so where was that substitute? It came from gambling. I thought that was crazy, you know? Like...
And how effortless is it to do a bet nowadays? You go on an app, it's already connected to your card.
16-year-olds
How
are doing
addictive
it.
is it?
Fuck. Damn, blur that out. I'm not trying to promote no gambling sites, bro.
Yeah.
But
Thank
yeah,
God I'm not on, we've never dealt with that, bro, because that's a scary lane to go through, bro.
exactly. All right, let's I reckon we spin off into the episode.
Okay. We asked the audience for some stuff.
Yeah.
What did they get? They actually gave quite a bit of good ideas, man.
Heaps.
Yeah.
Heaps. A lot of it is just
We really do appreciate it. And a lot of actually our YouTube audience don't know. Like, so you guys have to follow us on Instagram or TikTok, Facebook, whatever, to keep maybe not Facebook, but just to keep updated with us, because we always ask you guys questions and you guys are always giving us hectic feedback. So
No,
we appreciate it.
yeah.
I appreciate it highly. Well, the love and support they give us is
Yeah.
hella crazy, you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's interesting, you know.
One of the things they spoke about, it got me kind of like, it resonated with me, was the aspirations of what I kind of have planned. Like, what are you having planned for the next couple of years in the future? Because lockdown, it really made me like question what I want to do post-COVID. Because like the rest of the world, I'm watching YouTube videos, the rest of the world's back to normal.
Yeah.
Europe, people are traveling, no masks. England, America. But you watch the sporting matches like in the Premier League, full crowd. Full, no masks. And I'm like,
Premier League.
yeah, like soccer. And then I'm like, what the hell? Australia's still like in this tough situation. And then now looking through it, working here and there, graduating, it's like, what do I want to do in the next couple of years? You know? And it really made me think. So I've really like,
What were some things you started to think? What conclusion did you come to?
well, now because I've been like, I literally traveled, came back COVID straight away. So I know I actually want to go travel overseas and stuff.
Yeah.
And a big thing is like living in Australia for the last couple of years, I realized things don't change in Australia. They stay the same. Like I went and lived overseas, I came back, everyone's exactly the same. It's just normal. It's
As in Australia's moving very slowly?
no, just how
Culture.
like culture, what
yeah.
people do.
For sure.
Like if you go travel for a year and you come back, it doesn't change much. You can just come and go back, you know, because everyone's just going along with life. But when you get to travel, you kind of get like that uncommon life experience. You change your perspective on how you live. So I know for me personally, I'd love to go back overseas.
Yeah.
But like live overseas.
Is that something you're burning for, like after these?
Yeah,
this whole
because COVID. Yeah. Because I know like I'm watching a lot of YouTubers and they're just living the life. And it's like, just go explore. Because I've been stuck here for 2 years.
Bro, how crazy
And
is
normally
that?
I'm traveling and now it's
And
like...
you start to see as well, like how strict we are on COVID. Like you don't know how it's going to be next year as well. Because last year we didn't know this year would be the exact same. We thought, okay, it will be post-COVID. We'll move on. Who knows next year? Yeah, vaccines, but you, know,
That's
you
true,
don't
that's
want to. You don't want to take that risk, I guess.
Yeah.
It's actually weird because obviously, like in Australia, a lot of the content we consume is like from American YouTubers
it
and
is.
Canadians and people from the UK, blah blah blah. And to see them living their life like as if like the pandemic doesn't exist and we're out here like back to back in COVID. Like how many times have we locally tried like, because obviously like like we've locally tried like doing some vlogs and stuff, you know, and doing vlogs and little content ideas. You need to be out moving. You can't be stationary and stuff. And obviously there's the whole conversation of like adapting to your life to the situation, but stuff that for now, yeah. But like in terms of content ideas, how limited have we become, you know? And wallah, I'll tell you something, road trips was a big one for me.
Even Airbnbs.
Yeah.
You bloody have a house waiting for us. Have to go book it.
How long's that been? Like a whole year?
Oh, I forgot about that.
Because my bank account hasn't forgot.
Ashraf hasn't forgot.
Yeah, bad.
Yeah.
Going through the pain.
But it's that kind of thing. We're just limited. So I feel like now you want to kind of have that freedom. That's why I know for me, a big thing I want to do is just go get that life experience again. Because I feel like it's a way to educate, like find out more about yourself.
Yeah.
Then educate yourself on the world. Because here we're very isolated, Australia. Like what closest country besides New Zealand, like 6, 7, 8 hours to go.
For sure.
And it's still like...
And then further that, we're in Melbourne as well. So like Melbourne, even the closest country technically, what, Papua New Guinea?
Yeah.
You know? If we're not talking about New Zealand, so it's like...
Yeah.
Because New Zealand's basically the same as
Bro,
us.
we're Antarctica low-key. We are Antarctica, you know?
But then I hear like YouTubers, I was watching a guy yesterday, he's like, yeah, I took a 2-hour train to a new country. And I'm like, damn. And it's just a completely different world 2 hours away. It's the same thing like in Africa, you know, or it's happening in the Middle East, you take a one overnight bus, you take a train, you take a quick flight, completely different world. You know?
And you guys have traveled around Europe and stuff, so you had a taste of that. And you know that sweet feeling. So I was like, oh.
But even going Asian stuff, because I saw they said Qantas, ideally in December, they want to open the borders to 5 locations. To Singapore, Japan, UK, Canada.
I don't
and
believe
US.
none of that, bro. I do not believe none of that.
Scott Morrison said he
Bro,
wants
this
to.
guy's been chatting since the start
Nah,
of the
but it's
pandemic.
more like it just G's you up for that
Yeah.
idea. Because last year you can't do anything because no one's vaccinated.
Yeah,
Now the rest of the world's traveling.
yeah,
We're not. So vaccination's kind of like that idea. If everyone's vaccinated,
yeah.
it's just a nice thing. Like there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
So maybe not December, maybe soon we'll be able to travel.
I've forced myself not to get into and delve into any of those like possibilities or wishful thinking, because
You're not an optimist. Yeah.
no, like I'd say I'm pretty optimistic, but like one thing that I've learned through the pandemic is that like it's I don't know, it's
Uncertainty.
yeah, everything's uncertain,
Mm.
you know. And I know that I learned this through lockdown, you know. Like you remember when we got hit with like the big pandemic, and we were meant to be in it for initially like 3 weeks, and it ended up being like 5 months or something along those lines, where it just got extended, you know. And then from like ScoMo to like promoting the idea that at the end of like Christmas last year, something was promised. I can't tell you exactly what it was. Something was promised. And then when we got to Christmas, like at the end of last year, it was like we really not got nothing out of it. I don't know what the hell I just said there.
Okay. On that, has COVID like given you any aspirations for the next couple of years?
Oh yeah, 100%.
What's some things you wanna? Because I'm actually interested to know what you guys are thinking. Because you might give me some ideas and stuff. You know.
Well, this is me speaking out loud, like literally out loud. And we had a conversation the other night about this. One thing about COVID, it's you know how like I've spoken in past episodes, and I've spoken to you guys privately about this, but like my life hasn't really changed during COVID in terms of that constant, like I still work. Nothing's really changed, you know, except the fact that I can't go out as much. That's probably the only thing that's changed. I've realized this whole idea of working for someone or working in a lifestyle where like I have to exchange sort of like my value or like my time for money isn't for me, you know. And I know that like I want to, inshallah, like probably like within the next 5 years, build some sort of brand. And alhamdulillah, I had that. Like I'm lucky enough to have started this with you boys, like just before the pandemic. But it's reinforced this idea that whatever we've got going on at this moment, you know, like I'm trying to build like a massive enterprise or something. I don't know how big it's going to be, but it's got to be something big. In exchange that, just something in the long run. The whole idea of legacy conversation we had the other day as well. You know, I want to look back forth and say like I put my energy into this for something that I created, and I want to see what fruits it bears down in the future, down the line, you know. So it's those little conversations. Yeah,
That's good. It seems like you're starting to look at how you spend your time and why. So obviously, like with the job you have, you ask yourself, why are you even doing that job? Why am I like doing that type of job as well? Like in this many hours as well?
Yeah,
Is it solely for money?
for sure.
Or is it for other things as well? I'm actually learning new skills.
Yeah,
It's like this time of the year, I hope that everyone's starting to reevaluate these things.
for sure. And there's a difference between being passionate towards something and seeing yourself do it for the rest of your life. You know, like I'm passionate about sport, you know, but like at this moment, it's not feasible for me to become an athlete. You know, like I'm passionate in the med field, you know what I mean, or learning about the body, the idea of physiology, little stuff like that, you know, but like
You don't want it to be occupation.
my occupation in the long
Yeah.
run. I'm starting to understand the idea. And it's funny enough that I'm speaking about this on a podcast that heaps of people listen to when this whole idea has been fresh in my mind lately. I'll probably look back at this like in a year's time and be like, yo, like what the hell were you waffling about?
Yeah.
You know, but it's one of those thoughts that COVID makes you realize, you know, lately, this whole lockdown, this pandemic, you know, it gets you really, really thinking.
No, I think it's normal though, man. Like during lockdown to start thinking about a lot of things and sometimes even overthinking. It's normal, so we shouldn't really beat ourselves. But yeah, I think it's good. I'm starting to do the same.
What's got you thinking?
I've started to like just, I guess, value my time more.
Yeah.
And then really think about what type of job I want to get, and do I really want to pick a job that's gonna earn me more money, and only for the sake of money, and I'm not gonna actually enjoy it or actually benefit or develop as a person, whatever it is.
For sure, for sure.
So like, alhamdulillah, like I'm not working at the moment, which isn't too bad. But then it's like I'm starting to pick up more new things, like actually enjoy my free time, make the most of it. You know,
What does the most of it mean?
like
I know I'm putting you on the spot here, but like,
these are new thoughts as well. Like,
yeah,
like you said for yourself. So like I'm just trying new skills, I guess, and seeing if that's for me or not.
yeah,
And at least I say to myself, okay, I'm gonna give it a go. Okay, that's not for me. I'll move on. At least I tried.
for sure, for sure.
So like video editing, for example, I'm
Yeah.
learning it, and I'm starting to suss into like some of the YouTubers and that.
Yeah,
And honestly, it's like overwhelming. It's like, what the hell are these guys talking about? Little
yeah,
nitty gritty details of like
yeah,
little effects. But I'm still in the early stages. But it's just like it's very interesting to start a new skill, and at the start of it, it's very humbling because you've got no idea, and it's like how to counter that, or actually just like persevere. Is that that's the word?
Yeah.
In like just actually giving it a proper attempt.
Exactly.
So it's actually very interesting, and obviously, it just gives me, apart from uni, like a purpose in my time, like as in, like I look forward to certain things. I'm not thinking too much about lockdown and, you know, and all this. Yeah, so I don't know. It's interesting, man. It's all these thoughts coming to mind right now.
Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
It's a tough question. I haven't been thinking about it too much because 5 years, I feel. Well, first of all, I feel like in the past 2 years, my thoughts have changed a lot. So I feel like in the next 5 years, it might change even more. So I've been looking for the next year. So like, because obviously lockdown, COVID and stuff, you don't know what's going to happen. So I'm starting to plan for like maybe next year or the year after. I would like to go overseas for a bit as well.
Yeah.
Inshallah, and just try.
Do what, like travel?
I like to live.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been thinking about it. It's just a thought at the moment, nothing serious. But because I'm studying teaching, this could be feasible, inshallah.
Yeah.
Well, as simple as I can teach English overseas.
Bro, you know in Dubai, teachers get paid racks.
I've heard, bro.
They get, just in case you want to know.
I've heard, bro, because like I was speaking to a mate as well. He's overseas working as well. And then
In Dubai?
No, he's working in UK.
Okay, yeah.
And I told him, I'm doing teaching straight away. He's like, yeah, go to the Gulf countries.
They got money.
Everyone knows, bro.
Yeah.
But then it's like, I wouldn't mind, but then I think there's other cultures I'd like to experience as well and to be exposed to. And I don't know what it is, but I'd like to go by myself if possible. I don't know.
Okay, solo travel.
But then who knows? I'll probably get there and it's like, nah, it's not for me. I'll come back. But but that's another thing. As long as I've tried,
Yeah.
giving it a go.
Exactly.
But yeah, what about yourself?
But you've traveled before, so what's the difference now, like in terms of
But
traveling?
I traveled with someone, so like I traveled with Ashraf.
Family.
Yeah, family as well. Yeah, like having them, like a few streets away, just that extra bit of security.
Yeah.
But then I feel like going by yourself, you obviously have the more freedom of control and what you want to do, how you spend your time. But then also you start to question why you're doing everything.
Yeah, true.
No one can see what you're doing. If I really wanted to, I can just laze around all day and do nothing and just go walk around or whatever it is, or go even elsewhere and not tell anyone.
For sure.
And go off the map. But then it's like, it's very interesting. You start to learn more stuff about yourself.
Exactly. Technically, I've traveled alone for like 3 days of my life.
You have?
Believe it or not. Yeah, because when I went to Umrah, there was, because before I went to Umrah, I was in Somalia. Yeah.
Okay.
And then what happened was, in order for me, because like all the boys from Australia were all traveling to Umrah, yeah? But half the boys were in London, half the boys, I was in Somalia, some of them were still back in Australia, and some other people around the world, yeah? But they were all met up, in Saudi, obviously. And what happened was, at the time, like, obviously I convinced my parents, hey, I'm going to go Umrah, this, that, but I'm going to go alone with the boys, yeah? But they already had planned that we'd go to Somalia for a little bit, all right? So I had to book my flight from Somalia to Umrah to go alone, all right? And I remember there was this one time during that period, my flights and everything got stuffed up. Okay, so the initial plan was I go from Somalia to Umrah and meet up with everyone just on that same day, basically. So technically, I didn't travel on my own in that, if I had gone with that. But what had happened was my flights got stuffed up and I had to leave Somalia early. Like I was super, super lucky, to the point where, like, alhamdulillah, one of the boys rang me up from London, asked me, hey, what's wrong with your, what time are you meant to plan to leave, as in Somalia? I said, I'm leaving in like 3 days or something. They're like, bro, because you know with your visa, there's like a 30-day expiration or something like that. Bro, if you don't leave by tonight, technically you're not going to be allowed into the country. And I'm like, what do I do? And mind you, I'm in Somalia, and with Somalia, flights leave like 3 times within the week, or at least where I was saying it was like 3 times within the week. Wednesday, Sunday, and maybe it was Monday. I don't know which 3 days. But I know that day, it was a Tuesday night, and he called me the Tuesday night, Somalia time. Okay? And in Australia, they were just waking up or something like that. And they had called me, and I'm like, I called my, what's the guy's called, the flight center or whatever here. And I told them, like, what am I meant to do, this, that. And I'm panicking, you know, because, bro, I've been thinking about this Umrah, the fact that I get to travel on my own, travel with the boys. I'm like, I have to go to this. Yeah. So then I called him, and then after, alhamdulillah, I was lucky. In the city that I was staying at in Somalia at the time, Garowe, they just built an airport. Yeah. Everything was just planned like to the T. So they just built an airport, and that airport was running by the time I got there. And there was a flight leaving that same night. So we hustled things. And initially what was meant to plan, I know I'm going on a tangent here. Initially the plan was I was meant to go from one city to another city, but through a car ride. Okay, because in Somalia, to travel from one city to another, everyone usually goes on like a little road trip, essentially. It's like an 8-hour road trip. Every time that I've been to Somalia, the road trips that I used to go on was with my parents. And in Somalia, between cities and stuff, there's checkpoints, and the security guards and stuff are just absolute headaches. You know, just to let them through, they'll ask you for a bit extra money. They'll ask you for drugs, little stuff. They just give you a hard time. And I'm shitting bricks. Like, I'm thinking to myself, like, how am I going to go travel from checkpoint to checkpoint on my ones? But I was like, I'm down for the experience because I'm on my own, you know? So technically, there was some sort of good that came out of all that struggle, you know? Like, in terms of my flight, me leaving 3 days early from Somalia meant that I didn't have to go through all those checkpoints, meaning that I only had to travel like 20 minutes to like the airport that was in the city I was at the time.
Yeah.
And it meant that I could to stay in Dubai for like 4 days. And in the 4 days in Dubai, bro, I was just careless. Because now I have 4 days between, and we're going to fly to Saudi, yeah?
Yeah.
And in those 4 days, bro, absolutely careless, just wandering around the city.
By yourself, yeah?
Yeah, doing nothing,
nice.
bro, you know? And at that time, like, my phone's off. I didn't even buy a SIM card in the city because there's no one to contact. There's no reason to.
Yeah.
Straight up.
And that was your first time, like, in Dubai, those 4 days by yourself?
Dubai, that was like my 4th time there. But
I'm sorry, I mean by yourself.
Oh, yeah, on my own, it was like...
And how was that? Just the idea, like, doing things on your own, obviously.
Good and bad.
Okay.
Good and bad. It was bad in the sense that, like, when you have so much time, you don't know where to start with it. And because I didn't plan to be in Dubai for 4 days, it wasn't the best thing in the world. You know, because I was like, what do I do? Should I go spend it on this? Should I go spend my time there? Got to do that? And I personally hate Dubai. No, like, literally, I do not like Dubai. I just think it's just a fake city.
I'm kind of the same as well.
Yeah, it's not like, it's artificial beauty.
Yeah.
It's not natural. That's what we resonate with more. Some people resonate with other stuff.
And they like that glamour and all that kind of stuff. And I think unless you got bands, like money to actually spend like thousands of dollars and all that kind of stuff, then Dubai really isn't for you, you know? But the good side of Dubai is like, you know, Dera and that, you know, where it's just like, you see guys who are sort of living their life like as if it's in the past. You know, they're walking around with these like timber, like trolleys.
Locals and stuff.
The locals, And that's the side that's actually sort of nice, you know, people just busking and asking for money, this little stuff like that.
You know, doing things solo though, if you're keeping yourself busy, it's okay. But when you're alone and it's like, when you get bored, that's when it's really tough. It's the same thing as like now, isolation or lockdown. You're fine being by yourself, but then as soon as you run out of things to do or you don't plan, that's when it starts becoming more difficult. Imagine you're on the other side of the world, no friends, you don't speak the language. Yeah. That's when, you know, things get the better of you, especially if you don't have a job lined up or studies or anything. So it's a big thing, you know?
But you know, the funny thing is as well, the things that like sort of aren't planned and they just happen are the things that are like most memorable. You know, like those 4 days, and then the days after when we actually ended up going to Saudi, and then when I met up with the boys and everyone was talking, because everyone, when we all linked up, everyone had a different problem with the flights. That was the funniest situation. Like nearly all of us had missed like our flights because the guys coming from London, this, that, you know. But it's those moments that later on, you look back like 3 years later on, I'm like, alhamdulillah, that it was actually planned that way. You know, because if it was planned in the way that like I went from Somalia straight to Dubai, that's just so linear and boring. You know, but you look back at it and I was like, but I started at one point for one whole day, I just binged one whole Netflix series, you know, because I think it was like the last day. It was Sex Education. And I don't know why I watched that, but it was an amazing show at that time, you know. But in that free time, I'm just like, bro, this is actually nice, you know, just doing nothing and like being like there, for example.
Nah, there's supposed to be mishaps, man. It's supposed to be mishaps. That's part of it. But traveling's like one of those things where it's like, it might not happen anytime soon. That's the tough thing. You guys, if you get G'd about anything that you know you can't do, for example, in the next 6 months, it's like, you know.
I feel you. Do you have any interesting travel stories? This might turn into a travel episode.
No, but on that, you made me remember like one time we're in Paris, okay, and so we finished all of our Europe stuff, and we're going back to London for another 2 weeks before we come back. So we're in Paris, and then we had to take a bus back to London, and they go on the boat and stuff. So Ali and I booked a bus ticket.
I booked the bus ticket.
Yeah.
Go.
Ownership. So he booked the bus ticket, and we're going with 3 of our mates. We jump on the bus. They go in front of us. We show the bus ticket. He goes, "You can't get on."
Why?
I said, "What's wrong?" He goes, "You booked it for yesterday." So Ali booked,
Ali booked it for
yeah,
yesterday.
because when
That's
you
why
book
I
it,
said it was me.
you book the ticket and
Yeah.
he maybe didn't change the days. So the other boys booked for the correct day. We didn't. So they go back to London. We're stranded in Paris, and we went Paris, went Spain, Portugal, whatever, and then we've already been in Paris for like 5 days. Now we came back for 2 days, and we're just sick of it.
Yeah.
We're like, bro, we just want to go back to London, relax, and then
What'd you guys do those 2 days?
we're stuck. We went to Macca's, tried to get Wi-Fi because we didn't know what we were gonna do. We had to book another ticket. We
Yeah.
had to book a hotel. It was like 11 p.m. was the overnight bus.
Yeah.
So we're stranded in France.
Yeah.
And we're like, we have nothing. We have.
No place to stay.
Yeah.
We don't even know where to start to like start.
We don't talk the
searching.
language. So
Yeah.
we got by seeing an Arab guy and talking Arabic to them.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, like because halal restaurants, you could just speak Arabic to them. So that was lucky. And then we're just stranded, and we're like, what are we gonna do? So we went to Macca's, free Wi-Fi. Macca's closed. Sat outside for a bit. We had to go find somewhere else that had free Wi-Fi.
24/7.
No,
I
not
think closed, like,
that
midnight
one. Yeah,
or
not that
11.
one.
Gotcha.
And then we're just walking around Paris. We didn't have money to buy a
We were
taxi or
so
anything.
clueless, bro.
And we had all these bags. It started snowing.
Oh,
And then-
you had your massive.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
of course, yeah.
Like just a backpack and another duffel bag, 'cause obviously, And then we're like, what are we going to do? So we Googled the hotel that was close. We walked in. And the first thing you say is like, bonjour, whatever, salut. You say hello.
Yeah.
It's like, do you speak English? The guy goes, no. And then we're just awkward. They're like, okay. And then he said it in a way because like French people get the most tourists in the world.
Yeah.
Because people come for 2-3 days, and it's very like disrespectful when people just constantly come up to you anywhere in France, go like, salut, hello, do you speak English? It's like they want to speak their native tongue. They want to be able to express their culture, but unfortunately, because so many English-speaking people come, they kind of lose it. So because of that, they get very angry. So the guy got angry at us, and then we're like, like, تحكي عربي, you speak Arabic? He goes, nah, man, he was from Tunisia.
Yeah.
And then we just had a chat with him, and he organized the hotel room for us.
All of a sudden,
Nah.
he's our
Yeah.
best mate.
Like he
Like
got.
on the house or like?
No,
or
Nah,
like-
but he goes
no
cheap
chance.
or whatever because we came late and we go.
Yeah.
We're gonna take the next bus in the morning,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
then we took then we slept. It was just random. We had to go get a hotel. The next day we came. We forgot where the bus stop was.
No.
'Cause you get lost. Like the street names are in French, and we took the bus, and then we started just walking anywhere to find the hotel
Gotcha.
and find the closest Macca. So we literally just said, let's walk
Yeah.
at like 12, 1 o'clock in the morning, walking
Yeah.
around Paris,
Wait, paint the picture. So this one bus stop takes you to.
London.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then we're there, we're stranded, we're like, let's go find the closest Macca's.
Yeah.
So we start walking. We just walk all around Paris, down it. And then the same thing in the morning. We're at 7 a.m. We had no idea where to go.
Also, when you only go to one place for the first time, it looks different at night compared to during the day.
That is true. That
So like
is
we
true.
got there, we're like, oh yeah, we'll find the place and that. We're walking around like, what the hell? We don't even know
Yeah.
this area at all.
Yeah.
But it was a good experience, man. It's just like those. You're right. Those type of things. Like, look,
Yeah.
we look back at it, and look, today we're speaking about it. You're speaking
Yeah.
about your story. It's just.
How
funny.
tired were your feet? How tired were your
Yeah.
feet? That's a random question.
I think it was our mind mostly, man, because it's just like we didn't know what was gonna happen next, bro.
Yeah.
But it was just funny. It
Experience.
was the end of our trip. The boys were back to London. We were just stranded. And stranded around Paris. I can just remember we're sitting outside the bus stops. Like, in the movies when they're just like sad, homeless guys, whatever, outside. And we're just sitting there. The bus leaves us. And we're just sitting there watching the bus. And we're stranded, So that was funny, yeah.
But those stories are the ones that you remember for the long time.
100%.
Like later on, you can just like right now you're having a laugh at it, but in the moment you're just like, bro, take me back to London.
I was so embarrassed as well, bro. My mate saw us like get the wrong day, and he's laughing at me, and I was just so embarrassed.
And you're burning in the moment as well.
Yeah, exactly. But then now
It's
it's
like,
just
yo,
like
how
I'm just
stupid
laughing.
can you be?
Hey, any stuff up is a stuff up, but a stuff up internationally, that's a bad
Yeah,
one.
man.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But see that whole idea of like just being able to take buses like an hour
Mhm.
and going to a new city, trying new cultures. I think that's just one thing, and just exploring more to the world. Like even if it is for like 3 months or
Mhm.
6 months, it's not much of our lives. Like we're in
That's
our
true.
mid-20s, we're gonna come back to Australia, and then start working full time again or whatever in your field.
I've
Just
never
not-
met a person who's traveled and doesn't have like a funny travel story.
Mm.
Like that's actually
Yeah.
properly
That would have
traveled.
been awkward if we didn't have anything.
Yeah, that, it
Or
really,
they're just
really
lying, bro. They're not
Yeah.
telling us. They're too embarrassed.
Yeah.
the full story. Yeah,
Yeah.
But
but yeah,
I started realizing why, like, a lot of people say, don't go to Europe because, like, it's not similar, but it's, like, more expensive or to be, nicer compared to other countries. But then I started to realize why Europe is, like, a nice location to go to. Like, if you go to the Middle East, there's different cultures, but they're still very similar. Like, they all kind of speak Arabic. or like different dialects, and the food's still like kind of similar because it's all like the Middle East, you know, like that region of, you know, Arabia. And then you go to different areas and it's like a lot of people speak the same language. Like us go there, if not you go to Asia and Malaysia, it's still different. But Europe, you can literally take like a 2-hour bus and it's completely different country, different language, different culture. Like you go from France to Italy, completely different people.
Yeah.
But it's like, and that's just a 3-hour train. But if you're in Asia, you take a flight from Malaysia to China, then it's different. China to Japan, it's different. So you have to take flights and it's a big effort. But in Europe, like we're in Netherlands, it's like you can take a bus to Brussels.
It's a lot more compact, like a lot.
Take
closer.
a train to, so it's different cultures, hours away. Completely different world. So that's the interesting thing where it's like people can go and do 7 countries in 3 weeks if they want. But other places, it's like you go to Middle East, you can do the same, but it's very similar. They're both Arabic speaking.
Yeah,
food's kind of similar. So Europe has that kind of. That's why I realized a lot of people like it. Yeah.
There's so many cultures all in one space that's within like
Yeah.
arm's reach.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we've got like Melbourne and Perth.
Well, for us, we take like an hour bus ride or 2 to Bendigo.
Yeah, literally.
What
Nah,
do you-
I don't know. You guys being Perth, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know if you realize, but if you go to back to, oh my god, you know one thing I realized about
You go back in time.
Wallah, you go back in time. I don't
Yeah,
know what
bro.
it is, bro.
Adelaide's West.
But
Perth, yeah.
Adelaide's a desert.
I've never been.
Perth's
Have you
just
been?
a big desert. That's all it is. They're both
Yeah.
deserts, yeah.
Yeah.
But like, like for example, you know, when I went back to Perth at the start of the year for the wedding, yeah, what happened was, you remember the old Coles from like 10 years ago? Bro, I thought I was going back in time.
Safeways?
Like it was
From
like,
Bendigo, literally, when you go to Bendigo,
Yeah.
those type of calls.
it's like nostalgia, like the brick and mortar stalls. Like there's people actually serving people at the registers.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as a self checkout. I'm just like confused. I'm like, what?
And they have the worst sales at Coles and stuff. Yeah.
Different universe.
At Coles,
bro.
yeah, Perth is.
But alhamdulillah, it's
Yeah.
crazy how like you just remove yourself from a certain location and like an environment, and just everything around you just like sort of like changes, you know. But that's crazy.
Yeah.
Allah, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
That's crazy, man.
It's interesting watching those YouTube videos, man. Because I've just been rinsing YouTube. I went the whole month of August, I did no social media. Because I came back, and then this is before lockdown even happened. My mate and I were like, we're spending too much time. He's like, yeah, let's try to like,
Get rid of social media.
yeah, really just spend our time elsewhere. And I went off it. I don't watch too much YouTube, but there's so many good videos out there, man.
On YouTube.
Yeah, I just rate like YouTubers, mashallah.
I'm already
yeah.
planning to watch 3 when I go home tonight, inshallah. I don't know what today is. What's Thursday today? Saturday.
Yeah.
I don't know why all the great videos. It's probably because of the Friday, because in America,
Yeah.
some nice ones. But sorry, continue.
Yeah. No, I just
Your
very
YouTube addiction.
yeah, because you watch it and you can kind of like you benefit at the same time, and it's entertainment, so I enjoy it.
That's true, and
Yeah.
it's inspiring as well.
Yeah,
I
it
don't know.
It is.
So the whole
yeah.
thing was speaking about, you know, I was speaking to you about like the whole working and the time exchanging for money and all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. A lot of that inspiration comes from YouTube, like YouTube and low-key TikTok.
Any
You know,
specific person on YouTube?
I love a Casey Neistat.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
feel like he's really, really inspiring. In the sense, I'm not inspiring to like the whole productivity and blah blah and all that kind of stuff. It's just like the way he creates his work and the art and the angles and the way he conveys a message. We were speaking about it all,
Yeah.
like editing, like conveying a message, like without actually verbally saying it or without it being like explicit. You know. But sorry, you
Yeah.
go.
It's a lot of times it's not about like even what the person says. It's what they do and how they make you feel.
Yeah, for sure.
A lot of YouTubers have that kind of like,
Impact.
like it's a form of art. You know how they communicate, how they make you feel.
yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
like that.
100%. Even like the big YouTubers and stuff in the UK, like Chunks and all that kind of stuff. Like that stuff doesn't just happen. You know, there's a lot of work that gets to where they got to. You know, and
Yeah,
the
for
effort
sure.
they put into it. I don't know. People just look at it. You can look at it purely 2D and look at it as like it's a form of entertainment. But if you look at it from a different angle, it's just hard work that's been put into it and thought. That's another big thing. Inshallah, that's something we can probably.
You got to get on
tweak out.
4-hour work week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. What made you realize something?
Now, just now, when you're talking about it, 4-hour work week, like Tim Ferriss is the guy for all this.
Yeah.
He coined the term lifestyle design, which is what you want. You want to design your own lifestyle. You want to design the life you want to live. So just that. That's what the book's about.
We'll get
you know?
onto that. Promote
Yeah.
that book. Yeah.
Nah,
Tim
nah,
Ferriss is a goat.
it's not for everyone. The book's not for everyone. It's not for a lot of people.
Gazelles. Gazelles.
Yeah. What else do people say on Instagram? What's
There's been one other thing.
Yeah. Thanks.
Cheers, brother.
Thanks, Jamie.
Young Jamie. School. Someone asked us about school, like life after school and whatnot. And I think one interesting question was asked: what's something valuable that we've learned from in school that we've started to realize just now, or like life after school? I'll probably spin the question to one of you boys. Like an aspect.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll start.
I saw
Yeah.
because I saw the Instagram comment about like what school doesn't prep you for.
Yeah.
But now a takeaway from school. Do you have an answer?
No, I don't.
I can have a spin off.
Okay, go, and then I'll go after you.
I think teachers is a big thing. Yeah. Like I didn't realize the value of teachers till after school had passed. And I'm not trying to be like corny or cliche or anything like that. But I was low-key a trouble kid in school. You know, I was that nuisance, that kid that just bumped heads. I spoke about like the whole suspension things in and out of school. But like I think life after school, like there were certain quotes or certain things like teachers would say in the moment that just stick louder like after school. It just rings in your head type of thing. And there was like also certain teachers. I remember listening to a Joe Rogan podcast, the one with like Neil deGrasse Tyson. Yeah. And they'll speak, I don't know what the conversation was, or how it got to this, but they were speaking about teachers and learning from certain people. And Neil asked Joe Rogan that people can only name 5 teachers or people that have taught them in their life. They can only name about 5 people that have impacted them, like teachers, in their schooling careers. You'll never have more than 5 teachers. Like, and in your school, you probably have like 20 teachers, 30 teachers, something like that. But you can't name more than 5 that impacted you. You know, and I thought about that. I was asking myself that same question. I was thinking to myself, I'm like, how many teachers impact me? Or could I say later on, I really love that teacher, like just for being who they actually are.
Could you name 5? Like thinking.
No, I could probably name 2.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same. I could probably only name 2.
One in high school, one in primary school. That's it.
Wow.
You know, and I'm thinking about it. Like if you actually break it down, it's because they were bigger than just being teachers. You know, and he was saying that to Joe Rogan, like your interactions with people, you want them to remember you more than like face value, basically. Like later on, even the time has passed, they'll still say, hey, that person right there, like even though it's been 10 years since I last seen him, they've had an impact in my life. You know, and I was thinking about it, I'm like, yeah, I had that one teacher, you know, who actually made teaching fun, you know, because learning was boring, bro. You can't tell me you came to school and you actually, I came to school to socialize. You know,
I think most kids,
yeah, I don't know a person that said, yeah, I'm keen to get my homework
because
done.
especially the amount of hours kids have to go to school and the amount of days, it's like, how do you expect them to stay motivated the whole time?
Exactly.
I don't know if it's just me, but I can't even think of a teacher that like. Obviously, everyone has a part of who you are today, but I can't think of like one teacher or even 2 that like, nah, they really did impact me.
Yeah.
Maybe because I was such a different person in school.
Mm.
But I can't think of like, I had a lot of relationships with teachers. Like we're just mates, banter. I used to aerate, so we're just having jokes, talking about sports. But it wasn't like, oh, these 1-2 teachers really made me, like shifted my perspective on things.
Yeah.
You know?
No, that's completely normal.
But I've had teachers like outside of school, like a teacher with like your whatever, Quran or something like that. And it's like that guy really helped me with different perspectives, or a mentor.
Yeah.
And they might have like helped me to who I am today. But I don't think...
And you look at them as more than just a teacher as well.
Yeah, because you have like a relationship, but I feel like maybe life teaches me more, you know? Or like you have a teacher, you're literally learning from someone when you read a book or listen to a podcast. He's kind of like your teacher. You know, you're reading 500 pages of a guy talking. But I feel like life taught me more about who I am today than...
The school system did itself.
Yeah, like that's about teacher in school. Because like maybe like I can after school, like my grandpa has helped me to who I am today, or my dad. You know, or even like a Quran teacher or something like that, a guy from the local community gave me advice or something. That kind of made me who I am today, or you boys. But then it wasn't like a teacher in school. Really shifted me in the right direction.
Was there a teacher that ever made you like school?
I used
Other than your PE teachers, because all boys say PE teachers.
No,
that shouldn't
but
count.
PE, like I like PE either way.
Yeah.
Unless the guy picked crap sports. Everyone kind of like resonated with different subjects, and like in my later years, I was a big humanities, history, business, legal guy. Like, you know, when things come natural to you, like I didn't need to study and I'd run amok on them.
Yeah.
So that was alhamdulillah, like because of that I would put in the effort and I'd run more of a muck. You know what I mean? So
Definitely.
I really enjoyed that, and I had actually difficult teachers in that.
Difficult
Like,
in what sense?
Like when I was at AI, there was a teacher, and a lot of people said, "Oh, he's harsh, and he's hard to work with, and he got maybe an ego thing and stuff like that." And then I would be with him, and I'm like, I'm still getting good marks.
Yeah,
And
I don't see it.
Even though there's a relationship where it's like he's very strict or she's very strict. I had a legal teacher at McLeod. She's very strict, but then I still used to like do well, you know. And unfortunately, like teachers can be mad at you, but if you do well and you do the right thing in class,
yeah,
you know,
your results will still come.
because I know you're putting in the work. There's no way you can always get high marks, 80, 90 or something, without putting in the work.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Ali, what about you?
School. You're actually right. Come to think about, like, you know, teachers, because you have to really ask the question: Did they really make an impact, or did you just enjoy the interactions with them? And like, I could think of one or two. Sheikh Bilal was one for sure. Like, especially because I left in year 10 to go to a public school, and I just remember him saying to me, like, whatever you do, don't forget your identity. Like, he kept it that simple.
He was still saying it back then?
Yeah,
Loves
that's
identity.
crazy, bro. But like, this is like, I'm in year 10, and bro, I was trying to puzzle it in year 10. I'm thinking, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to deep it, yeah. And I never understood it until like maybe after school, like moving on to uni and all that. But I think there's other aspects that really shaped me more than teachers.
Yeah.
Like, as weird as it sounds, some YouTubers as well, or like TV shows.
Yeah, it's normal, yeah.
But
Yeah,
like,
TV shows.
but it sounds weird.
Yeah. Like Michael Scott's my lifelong teacher,
Like-
bro.
Harvey Specter made me a boss.
Harvey
Specter.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, bro. But it sounds weird, right? But like, that's just how we're moving these days, I guess, because you consume so much of them as well, and you start to I don't know, relate more to them. So I'd say, for example, like Matt Diavella, YouTuber.
Yeah,
I
for
related
sure.
to him a lot.
Yeah.
Like, that's where I started to think about what's the word?
Self-improvement.
Awareness,
Self-improvement. I
yeah.
didn't even know it existed. I didn't even know what it was.
For sure.
I didn't know it was a thing. And he was just like an honest guy talking about his insecurities, or like things that he need to work on with habits or whatever it was. And those type of moments made me realize, oh crap, I'm not the only one going through these type of things. So it's very interesting, like looking back at like your schooling years and that, and seeing that they didn't make as much of an impact than you thought when you really deep it. And it's a bit disappointing because you're there for so long in that many years.
13 years, yeah.
Yeah, so it just shows the need of like teachers, I guess. You wouldn't say take their job more serious, but just putting more an effort on to the students into their lives as well, not just doing your minimum, which is like giving out the curriculum work, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And that's why I got into teaching. I'm very, very interested in that type of thing. So it's fascinating.
Wait, what part are you interested in?
So like at the moment, I'm studying to be a high school PE teacher, but I'm gonna start with that, inshallah. Possibly even like teach English overseas. I want to experience different schooling systems in other countries as well.
Yeah.
I've heard about Scandinavian countries are very interesting. So these are things.
What got you into teaching?
Yeah. So one of the things was noticing like the impact you can make on students.
Gotcha. You want to have that impact.
Was
on
there a teacher that had that,
child's life.
even outside of school? Like, it's like, oh, I really
Yeah.
want to be like person
so and
X.
so? Yeah.
Yeah, I think only outside of school I started to realize one or two of my teachers interacting with them outside of the school hours, noticing how their personality is and how much they actually care about, you know, people post.
What were you doing
school.
outside of school hours?
Playing football and that's all, bro.
Yeah.
Nothing special that you're thinking. But yeah, so it's just those type of personalities, like Mr. Alakumi, for example. I would speak to him in public.
Yeah.
He's a guy. He's a science teacher. I was never into science. So whenever I had him, I was terrible. Like,
Yeah.
But then even like outside of school, he'll talk to students, and even if they're grown adults, and he'll like actually have like deep conversations with people, and like he's very interested in what you're doing.
More than a
And
student.
Exactly, more than a teacher. It just shows like he actually cares about you guys. Like you're part of the community,
Yeah.
and that's what I want to do. I want to make an impact on the community.
So
For sure.
beyond your job.
Exactly.
Yeah, like you don't
100%.
just teach them. But when you're talking there, I think a big thing with the schooling is with teachers, you only have a teacher maybe 1 year and you switch from another. Like my science teacher in year 8 and year 9, my science teacher in year 8 and year 9 would switch, you know, 9 and 10, or my English would switch each year. So because of that, you have a guy for a year, you know, three days a week, and that's it. So you don't build a deep enough connection because they have so many classes. But if you had one teacher for like 7, 8, 9, maybe some schools do this, but our school didn't, then you might build a deeper connection where they can kind of like mentor you a bit more. Because sometimes like the teaching ends when the bell rings. Do you get it? But it's like, that's not how education is. You're always learning.
Yeah.
So if it was more like that, but that made me remember there was one guy who made me actually believe in myself. And a self-belief, like a self-confidence thing was never something that was like taught to me, you know, but he never actually had taught me ever. So he was like one of like the VCE coordinators, was up like senior school principal, whatever. I never had him. When I was leaving in year 10, I gave him the leaving form, and then he came and had a meeting with me. He goes, I don't want you to leave. I want you to be school captain. And I'm thinking,
Chang.
I'm a narrator.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm a narrator.
What do you see in me?
What type of school
I'm playing
captain?
sport. I know I was intelligent.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah, like I could get by. You know, if I put in the work, I could do well. But I wasn't like, you know.
Fit for the role.
Yes, but I was a balance of everything. So like I could communicate well, I could do well in class, and I would crack jokes, but I wouldn't be like, I wasn't never the class clown. Like I wasn't that bad. So I was a balance. And he goes, no, I want you to be school captain. I'm thinking, damn, like you have that much confidence in me that I can be of benefit and impact. Because there's a lot of things I did very well, you know? So he saw that and he had faith, like, nah, you got to believe in yourself, you know? And I'm like, this guy's never taught me. And this guy was strict. Like this guy, like people didn't have friendships with him. So when he did that, I'm like, it made me think maybe I do have something to offer.
Gotcha.
And then that started to build the trend where it's like, okay, maybe I can help people.
And is that still ringing in your head to this day?
Well, yeah, because it's like that idea where it's like someone believed in you, even when you didn't believe in yourself.
Gotcha.
So I was like, nah, I'm an aerator, whatever. And then
They see something in you that you probably like didn't acknowledge yourself.
And the thing is, he never had, like, he was never my teacher. If he was my teacher, it's like, oh, maybe he saw something, but it's like maybe through other people or whatever.
Conversations.
But sometimes you just like have an eye for it. It's like, you know, it's like maybe now I can look at someone and say, you know, I reckon you can do this.
Exactly. And you're looking at it now, you were probably looking at it from the lens of like your peers, the other students in your class. You're like, why me type of thing. But teachers, you can see it, bro. Like clearly, like you can see which one's like the little annoying pest.
Yeah.
Ali, you probably know better than we do with your. But that's crazy, bro.
Yeah. But schooling doesn't prep you obviously for the real world.
No,
that's understandable because it's the world's changing, but the schooling system isn't. You know, obviously we want to do an episode on that, but what specific to you didn't it prep you for? Like what's an area that schooling didn't prep legendary for?
I'll tell you something. I feel like ever since like after high school, the more that we got into the world, that I realized the world is like, you just feel so tiny in the world. Like in school, I felt like we were babied and like we weren't really prepared for the real world. I think that's what I'm trying to say. That's the bigger thing. Like when you go out into the real, like there's bigger players. There's so many people having this impact on the world. And a lot of it's got to do with conspiracies and stuff. No cap, I'm not going to lie. You know, it's like, you know, Prison Break? You know, Prison Break where there's the scene of Tancredi, is that their names? Tancredi or something. Tancredi. You know, the vice president and how basically Schofield, Lincoln, he's in prison because he apparently killed him or something like that. But the whole thing was just basically faked. He never actually ended up killing them. I just feel like that's how life has been after school. Like there's so much going on and I feel so small into the world.
So you feel like
but the school didn't prepare you for that.
So you feel like the world's controlled by the company?
Like I wouldn't be surprised.
Bro, once I first heard about the company, I'm like, bro, we're going through it right now. This is where we are. This isn't fake.
What, during COVID?
No, I'm saying the earth and just like how businesses are run and stuff.
I don't want people thinking I'm a conspiracy theorist as well. Like I have my head screwed on, but like the world's bigger than us. That's one thing for sure. You know, and little things like, for example, like when did we reread Rich Dad Poor Dad? It was like first year, second year or something like that.
2018.
Yeah, straight after high school. When I sort of understood the concept of financial literacy. Like the whole idea of taxes. I remember one of the first things I understood about taxes was like, you know, the thing with like Donald Trump and also like billionaires and stuff. When they want to go out for like a business trip, or they want to go have coffee or they want to have to do this, everything's on the business. They're not really using their money. You know, they're making their taxes work for them. Little stuff like that. And you can read into the book and find out about that. But just little stuff about how you can use your money. You know, how like career pathways and there's just life is bigger than, you know, going to school 9 to 3 and stuff. And I feel like that isn't preached to most kids in the schooling system at the moment. You know, like kids just think, oh, they've got 7 periods a day. And I was with my, little cousin yesterday and I was watching her during her homeschooling and stuff. And I'm just like, man, it's so cute to see how innocent she is. But man, give it 15 years.
There's a whole world ahead of her.
Like shit's gonna hit the fan, bro.
But then also, I reckon some teachers, for example, financial literacy, they're not aware of it, I feel.
Yeah, because we're in a society where no one knows about this stuff, you know?
You can't really like blame some teachers that actually don't know.
Yeah.
Like if you look at, if you were to go back to your school now, and you had conversations with some teachers, you'll be surprised like how much they don't know of certain aspects that you have learned through reading or whatever it is.
Exactly. Half of them are on mortgages, bro, trying to pay off their thingy, you know, so...
You can't like maybe use the word blame, but you still have to take responsibility for the amount of knowledge you learn. Like if you're not putting in the effort, you can't. Everyone's accountable to kind of like seek that kind of knowledge.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't have to read 1,000 books or whatever, but read one or two, listen to some podcasts, have discussions where your mindset can go. Because the more you know, the more you can benefit those kids.
100%.
So if you look at the teaching, they say teaching is a noble profession. You know, you have a lot of responsibility. So the more you learn, the more you teach, the better it is for the next generation.
For sure.
But if you're not putting in extra effort, and that's what a lot of teachers might do, they might just do the bare minimum, then it's like, you know, that is, you have to take accountability. You have to take some blame.
Yeah, and
You
also
know?
the aspect of being a student doesn't stop when you finish school either. You know, it's just literally a lifelong journey afterwards, like being able to read books and understand certain concepts, little stuff like that. I think but people fail to understand that. But then that whole pressure was on my shoulders from there. I guess like after school, it's like, okay, now this is life. What am I going to do with it? You know, alhamdulillah, I have like I'm not an overthinker. I'm not a stress head or anything like that. You know, like I can look at it objectively and sort of say, hey, this is the problem, or this is something I don't understand. Let me try to tackle that. You know, but then I feel for the people who don't have that sort of like that mentality or that mental toughness to sort of be able to navigate. Consciousness is another thing, to understand themselves. You know, but then like Ashraf said, it's the onus is on you. And obviously I'm not gonna be here and start shitting on teachers either. Like there's so many little qualities that teachers have taught me that I probably can't even acknowledge and say, yeah, you're the one that taught me that.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Like I remember back in grade 4, you know how I told you there was 2 teachers that like impacted me, That impacted me with things that are not even related to teaching. You know, it's just certain things. Like for example, my grandfather was sick in like when I was in like grade 4 or something, like it was back in 2008, And I remember my teacher in the morning when I got to school, she already hadn't heard the news, or she asked me like, I think I came late to school that day or something like that. I remember I told her like, yeah, like my grandfather's sick or something like that. And I'll be honest, I didn't really feel anything. Like I was like, yeah, my grandfather's sick. Like, okay, like let me just get to school. I'm a little kid, you know.
Just fact.
Yeah.
It's just a fact, you know. She felt for me about something I didn't even feel for myself. She gave me a nice hug. She took me to the staff room. Bro, the staff room at school, you feel like a king.
Yeah.
You know, if you get
Special
sent
treatment.
I already came late to school, so I already feel like a king. You know, there was 2 times I'll tell you something about school, 2 times you ever feel like a king. If you come to school halfway through the day and you got like Macca's or something in your hand, and you're the only
or
one
you
that
leave
has
early.
it. When you leave early, that's one. And the second one is when you go to the staff room. There's one moment I think I missed like the first period or the first class for the day. And I know it was early on in the morning because what she did is she took me to the staff room and she made me a cup of Milo. Wallahi, I'll never ever forget that in my life.
Yeah, VIP service, bro.
Oh,
You can
100%.
never forget that.
I know what that staff room smells to this day. It's like, you know, coffee, like old people. You know, and at that time it was like coffee was associated with old people. But it's just the way that she made me sort of feel in that moment. I was like, oh, like crap, you know. And to be honest, I probably wouldn't have remembered that my grandfather was sick back in 2008 if it wasn't for my teacher, you know. So like I sort of associate those 2 things in that moment. You know, and then there was like my high school teacher because I loved algebra. You know, I just like solving puzzles, like just like getting to the bottom of problems, you know. And everyone would always tell me like how much they hate maths and stuff. But I was that kid that just loved maths, you know. Found English boring, found humanities boring and history and all that kind of stuff. But there's one teacher that was always just a challenge, you know. Like he would put, you know, multiple times tables. He'll put like 12 times 12 and see who could do it the fastest.
Were you good at that?
I was fast as shit, bro.
Don't
Like, I would
lie.
do it 100%.
I was fast, that's why.
You do it as
I was
well?
the best in the year level.
Bro, concept challenge or what?
Done.
He'd make me do that, and you know what he'd do? He'd reward us with like $5 or something like that, you know. And I'm not working at the time.
That's a lot of
So
money.
$5,
Hectic.
bro. I felt like a billionaire, man. So that would be like my canteen money for the day. So I'd do anything and everything to make sure I wouldn't miss that class. If I missed that class, that was deeper to me than missing like sports class or something, you know, because it's just the fact that I could probably get $5 and like eat good later that day, you know. But it's that feeling that teachers give you in that moment that like is beyond, I guess, high schooling.
It's the feeling, like you said. But I reckon teachers were switched on. Sometimes we just weren't ready for it.
For sure.
So a lot of times they did put in the effort.
Yeah.
But when you're talking about like a hectic feeling, I still remember what a feeling it was. It was grade 5. It's like mid-year. Mid-year. And we were about to go to Queensland. So me and like my family friends, I don't have to list them, but there was like 6 of us. We're all in the primary school and we're all going to Queensland. And it was midday, so we're leaving halfway through the day. That's really hectic. But our parents were in the car and they said, go get all the kids. So we'd knock on the door and we'd act like a boss. Hey, I need this person. Why? We're going Queensland. And we walked out, and I remember my family friends knocked on the door, and teacher's like, oh, sorry, you can't interrupt. I said, yeah, we're going Queensland. I said, see you, everyone. And I ran out the door. And I felt like the biggest boss ever. There's like 6 kids running around the school, knocking on the door. We need that person. Why? We're going Queensland. See you later. And we just ran around the school.
And then you rub it in their face.
Bro, that was the best
Bro, it's
feeling.
moments like that you'll cherish forever. And remember, bro.
That was actually hectic.
Bro, that's crazy. You know what teacher I was talking about, by the way, yeah? No, come on, man. Too cherry. Yeah, I don't know. We didn't go to the same school, clearly. But yeah, was there some other things they gave us on Instagram we could delve into?
Yeah, but I like the idea about like they didn't prep you for the real world because it's that bubble experience.
100%.
You know, you think that's it, but when you kind of learn something new, your mind just keeps expanding.
Yeah,
You know, but you can only learn so much at school because you're not ready.
for sure.
It's like you know, we had guests on like Salem who said our mind's not fully developed until we're like 25 on average. So you can't be teaching a 14-year-old about taxes. If you taught me at 14 or Rich Dad Poor Dad said, I might not care.
There's a time and place for it.
Yeah.
You know, and you got to be mentally ready for it. It's like and you know, like with work as well. Like retail, when I first started work, I learned more from retail than I learned from school. You know what I mean? Because like, for example, I'm dealing with customers on a daily basis and I'm dealing with like millions of personalities, not millions, but like multiple personalities on a daily basis. And I have to sort of navigate between that. So like a lot of my interpersonal skills, I dedicate to that. But certain environments teach you certain skills. I think that's what I'm trying to get at. You know, like school probably taught me like stuff that I don't really can put my hand onto right now. But like with life after and stuff, that taught me my interpersonal skills. There's low-key things like FairDinkum's teaching me now that I didn't know before, you know, but it's just it's a continual journey.
Yeah, I think retail experience is underrated, honestly. Like
Yeah,
it's
it is,
something
yeah.
for sure I'm going to get my kids to do.
Bro,
What's so funny?
You should have seen the first experience where this guy was in retail. Remember?
What is it?
In
Go.
Perth. Tell us the story.
In Perth?
Yeah. Remember when you're dealing with customers?
I can't remember the story. Well, I can't remember.
tell so.
Like we've been going Perth for like 8, 9 years, 10
Yeah.
years, whatever. So every year we go
Why, bro?
for like
Shout it out, cuz.
no, I'm just saying like we go there and we for the business. So I'm used to customers. My sister and I, easy, no stress. Ali hasn't been coming the last couple of years. So he came, was it last year? That's COVID. The year before. The year before. So Ali came and he hasn't came. We've been going 6 years in a row. So things become normal. So Ali comes, customer came to the counter and you have to like count everything quick. So it's like multiplication. It's like, addition. You add everything and you tell them the prices, you get the change quick and you have to bag it. You're like Aldi's. Yeah, Aldi does it like a bullet.
Yeah.
That's what my sister and I are doing. $46, that card. It's quick. Ali comes. And then the customer's asking, how much is this? I don't know. And then he starts looking for my mum. He starts looking, has to count this, has to bag at the same time. And the next person's waiting. And he starts getting overwhelmed. He's like, no, I'm out. And he went, like, after one customer, he went inside. He goes, bro, this is too much.
I forgot about this.
I'm overwhelmed. How do you guys do it so quick? Because obviously he looked at us. And it's just easier, you know, especially like even for my sister, it takes her like a day to not care about the customers. Like, don't let it get to your head.
Yeah.
Me, I get there. There's a line I said, you know, in the
It
line,
is what
I
it
saw
is.
video. I was the patient. Wait a couple minutes, because when you go to Kmart and there's a line, you have to wait. When you go to Woolies and there's a line, if there's a line, you can't rush yourself and then you make mistakes. Like, go as quick as you can, but like you have to
Pace
wait.
yourself, yeah.
It's a part of the game, you know. And there's 3 cashiers, so it's not like there's just one of us.
Yeah.
And then Ali was just getting overwhelmed and stressing, and it was just funny to see. Because I was composed, alhamdulillah, because I've experienced. He wasn't. And I was like, he's like, please, bro, help me.
But that's what it is. Like the first few experiences of retail or even just getting back into it,
Yeah.
you want things to like go quicker because you don't want to see people waiting because you're thinking about what they're thinking. Are they thinking negative
Incompetent, yeah.
There's a lot going on as well.
Yeah.
And plus they give you that like one sigh or they look at
That's
you
all it
differently and it puts you off your game. And it's just
100%.
like, but that's what you got to be just like, you got to.
It comes with experience and time.
Yeah, experience and time, 100%. That's why like in retail, you can tell who's new and who's not.
Yeah.
You know, it's
100%
just
straight
the way
away.
that they react to customers. Because to them, customers are like big, scary guys. You know what the most disrespectful thing is? People that are working retail and give other people in retail shit. I can't stand that.
Yeah.
You know,
like you know how hard it is.
You know how hard it is. You know how annoying it is. Because, bro,
Are you
like,
saying customers?
yeah, as a
Customers
retail
giving crap?
customer, you go give someone else in
Yeah,
retail
yeah.
like a hard time.
No,
Like-
but that I reckon those people have never worked retail. That's why.
No, he's
No, no,
saying
let's say
retail workers. So,
I
actual
thought you were
retail
saying
work-
customers. Sorry.
Yeah, no. People that actually worked in retail as well. They're the
that's
lowest of
sad.
people.
Yeah.
Because you know what it's like and you act here trying to give people like a hard time. It's like, come on, man, chill a little bit.
Uncalled for.
But,
Yeah.
it is uncalled for. Lowest of lows.
give us the last one. What's on? Yeah.
What is it? What do we got? We covered it, bro.
That's it.
Unless we pick a random one again.
I thought the time schedule or something. You know, a lot of people asked about that. 'Cause
Oh,
now
sorry,
lockdown,
yeah, I see that. How are we utilizing time relationship with screens and keeping our routine and stuff? I think this question's in relation to COVID, lockdown.
A lot of people are in lockdown.
Yeah,
That's true. I might go lockdown for a couple more weeks.
Yeah, true. You guys want to take this one off?
What time?
Yeah, because I think you guys have got a lot of time in lockdown. Yeah.
So I think it's just what I was thinking when I seen that was that for most of us we have more time than usual.
For sure, yeah.
So I think it's just the idea of actually using it to some sort of good use, and also for myself personally, it's like becoming more intentional with, all the technology I have in the house, because I feel like some days it's taken over my day, and naturally it does because it's addictive. It's normal.
Do you let yourself be in moments like that? Like, do you just like let it be? Like, if you already clocked 3 hours on TikTok for the day, do you just go like, yeah, stuff it, like, let me have another couple hours? Or do you be like, nah, like, I should discipline myself?
It was TikTok 100%.
Yeah.
That's why, that's like I said, that's why I got off it.
Yeah.
I want to take a nice break and actually look at how much time I use on screens,
For sure.
and how beneficial it is or not. And like, can I live without it? So it's just interesting. I'm starting to just experiment with myself and how I use my phone. Like I turned off iMessage.
Yeah,
while
it's
back.
annoying, bro.
Yeah, I know.
I hate texting you.
But then to be honest, I don't care, because for me, I turn off the internet. So
But it's like
so I don't use my phone half the time. Yeah,
Wait.
but like
Wait. You turn off the internet?
yeah.
Why do you turn the internet off?
Because
to use your
obviously
data?
if I go for walks or whatever, someone actually needs to call me for some sort of reason.
Do not disturb.
No, but like, what if they want to call me? Then it's not going to go through.
I get you.
then
But you're
when
turning off messages.
No, yeah, but as in, so I could turn off my internet. So then when I use my phone, I can't use it for anything else but message people.
I get you.
There's no like incentive.
Get you to distract yourself.
I'm just experimenting, bro. That's all it is. Like,
What
just
have you
trying new
realized in
things.
that time? Like, how you felt?
That's good, man. I feel like I realize I have a lot more time on my hands. Sometimes I got a bit bored, to be honest.
Yeah.
But in a good way. So I started to realize like I can make time for other things, like even just as simple as spending time with people in my house, bro.
Your siblings.
Like those type of things, like you just get distracted. You can be sitting on your phone, or you could just be socializing with your parents or whatever it is. Those type of little things, like I'm just starting to experiment and actually assess the way I use my time. So it's actually very interesting. I don't know if you've noticed for yourself with screen time, but
my screen time wasn't too. It's bad, yeah, but it wasn't. Cause like I'm busy.
What's bad? Tell us the numbers. Let's go.
I've turned it off because I got sick of seeing it. Well, I actually did.
Every Sunday morning.
yeah, every single Sunday morning. Because at one point I was doing good, and then for this like 3 weeks I received this text message. Or that morning it said to me, "Oh, you're up like 17%. You're up like 28%." I'm like, this shit's just gonna keep going up. Like, let me stop before it like explodes.
yeah.
But I've just sort of accepted it, bro. Like I know, because alhamdulillah, like I have such a good schedule and a system going on at the moment. So anytime that I go and spend some time on like social media or on TikTok or something like that, like it's purposeful. Like I know, like I'm just gonna go. Yeah, because I don't have the time to waste at the moment. Compared to like in summer where you just like you might have a day off, or like you have like 4 days back to back off, and you just be scrolling and stuff. So I don't have that sort of time. But like with TikTok as well, like I enjoy, because I don't watch YouTube as much at the moment. Whereas like TikTok is like my sort of
entertainment.
Yeah, it's my burst of entertainment. I can consume so much content in such a little amount of time.
Yeah, it's like, to be honest, it is time efficient in a way.
Yeah,
like
very time efficient.
Anyway, so like
depends which way you look at it. Yeah, it's time efficient because you can consume content in such a small amount of time, but you're entertaining yourself for such a long amount of time. That's the only downside to it.
Yeah.
I thought about it the other day. I was thinking about how, that video we posted and we were sitting there and I was saying the whole 1.7 billion people TikTok and whatever, and how I said like I don't see TikTok like blowing off, or it's not gonna last more than a year.
SubhanAllah.
Now look at you consuming for hours.
It's taken over my life, bro.
Yeah.
2 years down the line as well. TikTok's been around for a while.
So you don't know, man.
Yeah. What about Yasha?
Yeah, how's your screen time?
Screen time's okay, because the thing is I have no social media, so it's a bit of a not crazy, but it's a bit of a different thing, especially in lockdown. Social media is a good avenue to kill time, but I feel like the idea of killing time isn't a good mindset to have. You can kind of use your time but you say, okay, now I want to have a downtime. but I think you should be intentional with it. But I think a good thing you can do in lockdown is say, I want to be productive or do things that I need to do until a certain amount of time. So you see there's like light at the end of the tunnel, there's a reward. It's like, okay, I'm going to do all my studies, I'm going to do all my workouts or readings, whatever, until like 6 p.m. But after 6 p.m, I don't want to be productive.
For sure.
I don't want to do emails, I don't want to do work, I don't want to, have to do uni stuff. It's like until 6. Obviously, some people, it's you have to do it however many hours, but it's like, I'll reward myself, I'll do unlimited, guilt-free TV shows, movies, whatever, after 6, after 7, whatever works for you. And I feel like if you can stick to something like that and stick to a good sleeping routine, you can kind of be efficient with your lockdown, because you might not have another opportunity to have, for example, a month off work and a month at home. So there's actually so much you can do in a month.
Yeah.
There's the 10,000 hour rule, which is excellence in anything you do. But there's the TED Talk that talks about the 20-hour rule.
Yeah.
So 20 hours in any specific skill or task can make you like sufficient, make you at least like a base level good at it.
Yeah.
Just 20 hours. So if you're doing like an hour and a half, it takes you like 2 weeks. If you're doing, 20 days, just an hour a day.
Yeah.
So any type of skill you want to learn, all it takes is 20 hours. So if you can start to actually like utilize your time, it's good. And screen time, it's an interesting thing. We did last Sunday, maybe we'll do it tomorrow again, no phones the entire day. We woke up in the morning.
What?
The whole family.
Yeah, whole family. My dad had the idea. So we woke up in the morning. Ali goes, where's your phone? We put it on the kitchen counter. You can use your laptop if you want, because I was doing editing, but 0 phones.
What about calls and texts?
Alhamdulillah.
It's
Like-
yeah.
like
You can
my-
WhatsApp on my laptop, but it's like sometimes there is emergencies. But like Tim Ferriss talks about in 4-hour work week when he talks about his email and sending like a specific time. It's a crazy thing, but if someone can't contact you, they'll probably find another way. Like I got my phone at 11:30 to put an alarm on. I saw 2 missed calls. Texted the person what happened. I called them, and then the next day they replied. They said, "Oh, I needed a printer for something, but I just went to someone else." So a lot of times you think something is dire need, but if they can't get to you, they'll get to someone else.
Did your dad give you guys a warning, or it just happened in the morning?
No, we spoke about it a couple of days earlier, because
Okay.
they've been like watching the news a lot and being on their phone a lot. Their screen time is more than us. So I said, hey, let's try to reduce it. Then he goes, what about we do this? And it was a good incentive for the whole family to do it. But it's more about your relationship with screens where it's intentional. Do it guilt-free, but don't wake up in the morning 2 hours YouTube like I used to do,
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's true.
And
That's
I
true.
just want to make the most of the lockdown.
Yeah, that's one thing you said there. That was like that was a big point.
So I
there.
really want to make the most of it, because you might not have the opportunity again. It's like you don't want to regret it. And you can find out what works for you. But there's always something that you can actually do. Go learn how to skateboard. Go learn how to rollerblade. Go learn how to paint. Go learn a new skill. Learn editing. There's so much you can do. And you just don't want to regret it. And TikTok, like 3-4 hours a day, make it 2 hours and a half and do an hour or something else.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
But it depends. If you have 24 hours, 3 hours not that bad.
yeah.
But yeah, it depends your
But
mindset.
still, yeah.
But the whole thing about making the most of this lockdown, I literally was preaching it to someone the other day, because if you look at it, bro, a year ago everything was like literally like new to us. Everything was foreign. No one knew about COVID. No one knew about lockdowns. When there was a curfew, everyone respected the curfews. Everyone stayed back in, stayed indoors. Yeah. It's sort of an excuse, and it's understandable how we wasted a lot of time in the first lockdowns, because we had so much time, we didn't know how to deal with it. We went into summer and we had and alhamdulillah, we weren't really in lockdown. We're living a life where we're going on road trips, we're doing whatever. So we came back to our pre-COVID lives. Yeah. Now we're back in COVID. Okay. I was saying to someone, I was like, in COVID, like the first lockdown, I regretted a lot of things. In the sense that, not regret, like I wish I would have done this, but if I had that time again, and I said to myself, if that time does come again where I can do something or whatever, that I will make that time more meaningful. I will go spend that time and pick up something new, or that thing that I was trying to procrastinate, if I actually do it, Another thing, like sleep was a bad thing. Like I would sleep terrible hours during last year's pandemic, like last year's lockdowns. Yeah, and this year I was like, nah, regardless of what time or whatever I have priorities in the next morning, I'm actually going to go sleep. Because like you said, there won't ever be another lockdown again. Who knows,
Yeah.
But if you have all this time in the world now, why don't you make something most of it? Because as humans, we naturally have that like procrastination mindset where we'll put it off till next Monday.
Because it's the easy option. Yeah.
It is the easy option, and it requires you not being able to do work in the moment now, and we're naturally lazy. It's just the way that we are, anything what's called avoid risk, we'll do it 100%. But
We
the whole
do
point,
what we need to do.
yeah, but we've got to be a bit more, I'm speaking to myself here. like purposeful and meaningful with our time. There should be like a reason behind why we do this, because who knows, 2 days later on, or in 2 years, we might be married, you know, or we might have some big job opportunity that comes our way and we wish we had a weekend off, you know, and you don't want to be that person that says like down the line, like, I wish I did this, I wish I did this. You know, one of the punishments, and this is something, not to switch the flow of the conversation, but like in the Quran, yeah, when a lot of people, like, there's a reason why the Quran is like a miracle, you know, a lot of the stuff that's mentioned in the Quran in regards to, like, for example, Ilahi always quotes people and their reactions on the Day of Judgment. And they always say certain things like, Ya laytani, you know, like, I wish, like they have this feeling of regret, and this feeling of regret is a form of punishment, you know. And I know one thing about me is later on in life, I don't want to be in a position where I look back and say, I wish, you know, because how much of a burn would that be, you know? And people say all stuff like, I don't regret stuff. Come on, don't lie to yourself, you know, you wish you could have done
something. It's human
something.
nature.
Yeah.
But I've realized even with me, with the life experiences I've had, I regret the things I didn't do more than the things I did do. You know what I mean?
I
Like
feel you.
the opportunities, that time, that place I was. It's like, you know, when Ali and I were in Jordan, we were there for 10 months. The last month we knew we were leaving.
Yeah.
And when you know you're leaving, we just, look at his face, he knows, we just slacked off with Arabic. I think we went to like one class a week.
We just wanted to go home.
Because we knew, we started booking, bro, we got the globe. We span it and we said wherever it lands, we're going. We started just looking at tickets every single day, hotels, planning where we wanted to go.
Just want to get out of Jordan.
Like, because you know you're leaving. So it's like, what's the difference if I go for those 2 weeks? But now it's like, I wish I did that extra month. Extra month of Arabic when we're at our best. We might have like been like 7 months here. But it's like, I regret doing that, you know, missing out on the opportunity. You know, when we're traveling, when you're even here, it's like the things you didn't do.
I feel you 100%.
Yeah.
I feel you. I think we leave the episode on that note.
Yeah.
We leave it on a good note, you know?
Yeah.
Don't regret nothing. Thank you guys for listening to our episode today. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Share with your family. I hope you guys are doing well in lockdown. I think soon we'll come up with a lockdown special of some sort. We've got something in store for you guys. But yeah, also make sure you can stream it on YouTube, but also on all podcast streaming platforms such as Spotify, iTunes, podcasts, and whatnot. But peace.